The controversy surrounding Mayor Bob Filner and the latest details have many people wondering what exactly is sexual harassment.
Just ahead, we'll talk to a legal expert about identifying sexual harassment and what you can do about it if you think someone at your workplace has crossed the line. Welcome back. In light of the recent allegations against San Diego Mayor Bob Filner, you may have some questions about sexual harassment in your workplace.
What falls under the umbrella of sexual harassment, and what can you do if you think you're a victim?
For that, we welcome Michelle Lee Flores, a labor lawyer who deals with sexual harassment cases. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
So what actually constitutes sexual harassment under the law?
There can be a variety of things. For example, the key term here is unwanted. It could be unwanted visual, it could be verbal, it could be in writing or someone saying something to you. It could be touching, which we've heard a lot about. And it could also be a request of sexual favors in exchange for either keeping your job or maybe being promoted.
And typically, how are accusations of sexual harassment handled in the workplace? It first goes to the Director of Human Resources, right?
Well, hopefully someone feels comfortable enough and to report it to either the Human Resources or, for example, their superior, their supervisor. But usually that would then institute a investigation, prompt, thorough, to investigate the allegations of some type of wrongdoing. And then you're going to determine what happened. If you can determine that, sometimes it's he said, she said, but then determine if in fact there's been some inappropriate conduct, and then what type of counseling might result from that, or discipline. It could be termination, depending on what has happened.
Should the person who's been sexually harassed confront the person that's doing the harassing?
They can. I always recommend to my friends is that take a look at your company policies, your handbook, your policies and procedures manual. There should be something in there that says, this is who we recommend that you go and talk to. Sometimes if you're comfortable enough, you can go to the person, because usually most people, they just want it to stop and they want to move on as if it never happened. They just want it to stop. They don't want anyone to get in trouble. Alternatively, if you're not comfortable enough, and depending on the severity of what it is that someone has done, then you could go to HR, or a lot of times you can even go to the highest level of the executive branch of a company.
I think a lot of people don't want to be labeled a troublemaker, or they're afraid to come forward. They're afraid that they might lose their job. What do you have to people saying out there, to say to people saying out there right now that may be experiencing harassment, sexual harassment in the workplace, they're frightened?
Well, I think that the concern for retaliation is valid, but what I would encourage them to do is to feel comfortable enough to approach and follow the procedures that are set forth in the company, because they're there. They're supposed to follow those rules. They, as the employee, but also then the employer is supposed to follow those rules. Also, to the extent that they feel more comfortable, perhaps something in writing that allows for, I understand the concern for retaliation, but the writing then takes a snapshot in time, and that in fact you did report it and what it is that it was that you were reporting.
We've been talking about sexual harassment. What about sexual assault in the workplace? Does that obviously involve just simple touching as well?
It absolutely can. I mean, there's terrible things that can happen in the workplace, but an unwanted touching can give rise to a claim for sexual harassment, but also on the penal, criminal end of it. Right. Absolutely.
Would stuffing your tongue down someone's throat be assault, or would that be harassment?
It could be both, absolutely.
And in cases like this, what are the legal avenues? I would assume they're both criminal and civil charges can be brought against the person who's doing the sexual harassment, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you can have a civil claim, which is you get compensated for the injuries that you've suffered in light of someone's actions, but also on the criminal end, depending on what it is that has happened. Usually a criminal, the leering may not rise to the level of a criminal action, but an unwanted touching, severe, one time, could, absolutely.
Well, this controversy with the mayor has certainly put sexual harassment at the forefront of everyone's mind, and it's good to kind of refresh everybody about what's right and wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, the lemonade on the lemons of this one is we can all be reminded that probably the best thing to do in the workplace is to try and keep your hands to yourself.
Exactly.
Like they tell us in kindergarten, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.